So in regards to the financing opportunities that are available to SMEs in Nigeria, when you consider the fact that SMEs are a very important source of economic growth in the country, they're a very important source of job creation, they're a very important source of innovation, then it becomes very critical that funding opportunities are made available on the table to make sure that they're able to fulfill the objectives of economic contribution. So I'm going to start with one of the cheapest source of funding that you have for SMEs, which would be grant. And there are about 7 of them that immediately comes to mind. I'll start with the Building Entrepreneurship Today program of Diamond Bank. And you have the Tolu Elumelu Foundation. You have the...
Right, so these are grants?
Yeah,
so
all of them are grants.
Yeah.
Bank of Industry grant. You have Growing. There are quite a number of them that are available that SMEs can, take up opportunity, to be able to access. Now, what is interesting about them is that there are no interest rate to be paid. You just need to be able to qualify. Embedded in the qualifying criteria is the need for you to be part of capacity building programs,
right.
Intensive in-class business training, so that you can fulfill the objectives of the grant.
Right. And typically, sorry to cut in, Diamond Bank has its own capacity building program, I imagine.
Yeah,
it's something that banks have to actually make an investment in for them to lend to SMEs today, right?
It's a very critical one. I'll give you an example of the Easterners who do not joke with apprenticeship.
Yeah, very entrepreneurial guys.
So what that means is that they have some boy who trains with them for an average period of about 5 to 7 years, so that they can develop managerial skills, they can develop entrepreneurial skills to be able to successfully run the business. And that's why you find that a lot of the time that they're very successful. So which is not typical when you talk about the mainstream SMEs. That capacity building program, it's very essential to be successful as a business owner. And so for Diamond Bank, that's one area that they are heavily invested in to be able to help them. Otherwise, you would not be, having that money is on the table every day. But how you're able to deploy that funds to run a business, it's where the challenge is.
Right. Okay, but beyond the grants, tell us more about on the lending side. Because I know, for instance, the central bank has these intervention funds. Some have been dedicated to SMEs. And more recently, we heard about the central bank even incentivizing banks further by saying that if they will lend to the agricultural sector, for instance, that lending will allow them to access the cash reserve ratio, which we know is earning 0% at the central bank. So give us a sense of how you see things shaping up going forward. Okay,
so there are evolving initiatives, from the government, even from banks, to be able to make funding available, to SMEs. I'll start with the AXMIX example, where SMEs have the opportunity to be able to take funding at about 5% interest rate. But you have to be part of a training program. You have to be part of a business management training program for you to even qualify. And in recognition of agriculture and manufacture being very important employment elastic sectors, government is making that flexibility available for banks, like you rightly pointed out, providing incentives for banks to be able to lend to those sectors. So continually, those opportunities are on the table. So the demand side, which is the SMEs, are the ones that need to be able to avail themselves of these opportunities to be able to take on the funding and then grow their business, which is the intent of everyone.
Right. But coming back to the environment, give us a sense of your experience dealing with SMEs. Because what I hear is that it's a challenging business environment out there. Perhaps one of the, if you like, evolving challenges now is that because of the focus on taxation, many SMEs now have to get used to the fact that they have to pay their taxes, and that appears to be even more stress on the businesses. So give us a sense of the environment and how SMEs are evolving with the times.
Sometimes when we talk about challenges, some of these things are not, so to speak, very serious challenges, to the extent that if you want to be successful as a business owner, you've got to be intentional about what it is that you need to do. It's the same thing that is available in any market worldwide. So if I have chosen a particular business area that I want to go into, then the onus is on me to be able to understand what the nuances that would help me to be successful? Do I have the required training? Do I understand how I'm going to be able to get funding? So speaking to the issue on taxes, get yourself educated about what it is that you need to do to be able to manage your taxes. Diamond Bank recently had a seminar for traders in our market locations. When we talked about, we invited a renowned expert in taxes to come and provide education. And it was quite interesting that simply by keeping your books,
right,
you can have opportunities to, for deductibles that would even minimize the amount of tax that you pay. It was quite an eye-opener for me and even for all of the participants there. So these challenges, there's no business that is without challenges. There's even living, there are challenges, but you have to be able to get yourself educated about what it is that you need to do to be able to surmount those challenges. And you find that a lot of intervention programs, you find that a lot of initiative, even from banks, very commendable initiative, is focused on how to be able to, help improve these challenges so that SMEs can continually have opportunity to be able to access funds. So really, SMEs need to be deliberate about how they go about surmounting all of this, because they will not go away.
But in the current environment, as we move further into the second half of the year, do you anticipate that lending from the banking sector to SMEs would increase? Because what I saw in the first half of the year is that the book, in some results that were released by some banks, we're actually seeing the loan book shrink. So it will be interesting to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, okay, so that's quite an interesting perspective, because funds are available. And the reason attributed to what it is that you just put on the table, because of what had happened prior to now. But it's getting better. It's getting better. So I think that there will be an increasing access to fund as we move to the end of the year. I recently was in the news that Diamond Bank have been able to provide about 1 billion to SMEs under a special program that we call the cash flow lending, which is a program that helps to minimize risks from information asymmetry and collateral requirement, that recognize collateral requirement from SMEs. So if you find that one bank is making giant strides in that direction, then it tells you that as we move it to the end of the year, as we get into 2019, that it will become easier. But the SMEs need to know where to go to, and they need to be able to continually, intentionally take advantage of the opportunities available in the market.
All right.